hybrid workflow. Okay. We got in the box, we got analog, right? And when you bring them together, the terminology is hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah.
What does that mean in real world terms, and why is it something that, from what I got off your Instagram, it's what you like to apply to yours?
Hybrid workflow is basically flipping from analog to digital using not just a computer by itself to do everything, but using gear that has circuits and capacitors in it to color the sound and give you something unique to yourself. No piece of gear sounds like another piece of gear. They all sound different. So that's the idea of hybrid workflow, is you're adding different colors into stuff by using actual hardware and circuits and electricity. Rather than in the computer, when you pull up a plugin, it's always going to sound like that. It is always going to sound like that every single time. But like my preamps, I can make them sound 10 different ways just by turning that knob a little bit. For me, my hybrid workflow is analog in, mixing in digital, and then summing in analog again, and then of course printing in digital. Okay. So it goes through a few phases, so I can get what I want with the analog gear, and then utilize the digital side of it to make things easier, and then spit it back out to analog.
That's cool. I like that. That's something I don't have capability of, but when I think about that process, it makes a lot of sense, because you want a certain texture to begin with, and you can get that through your analog gear. Then you step into your digital world and get your effects or whatever you want through that, and then warming those up again. How you would like.
Exactly. I mean, having said that, there are Grammy records out there, out the wazoo, that are all done in the computer. They just are. And there's nothing wrong with that. No. It's really about just figuring out your workflow and what works for you. For me, I wasn't getting what I needed in the computer, and that's probably just a lack of knowledge on my end, because I've got good buddies that mix in the box, and their mixes are phenomenal. For me, I just wasn't getting it from analog, and our mixes are very much right up next to each other. They're just better at utilizing the tools they have in the digital realm, and I really like what the analog does. One is not better than the other in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Just whatever works for you. My analog workflow can be a pain in the ass because I have to recall. I have a little recall sheet that I have to go into, and I have to bring up, because I use a couple of analog pieces of gear, compressors and a SSL Fusion, that anytime I'm working with a new track, I have to go in and recreate them, and then to the next track, do the next thing. So if I'm done with it and they call me a month later for recalls saying, oh, hey, we really want that vocal up a little bit, then I have to go back and redo it all again. And it's analog gear, so it could sound different. You know, there's an old story, I forget who it was. I want to say it's like Bob Clearmountain or something like that. But he always had to print his mixes at a certain time of day, because the electrical grid around him was particularly better that day. And I remember there was a story about how he printed a mix not at that time, and the mastering engineer called him and said, hey, what time did you print that mix yesterday? And he's like, I was like 3 o'clock. He's like, it sounds different. Can you print it at 5? Just because the grid in the city sounded different at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, and it runs on circuits, you know. So, luckily, I mean, it's never like do you know like what phase cancellation is?
A little bit.
Okay. So basically, every waveform has a phase, a fraction and rarefaction. If it's opposite that, then you will get phase cancellation. Right. So
if the wave's going up, the instrument that you're aligning with it should also be up in that same pocket.
Or just anything in general. Yeah. So with my analog gear, I can print something and then reprint it again and put those on top of each other and flip the phase of the second one, and I won't get full cancellation, just because the analog gear does sound different every single time you do it. and the way it reacts. If it was digital and I printed digital and put the same waveform under it and cancel the other one, it would be dead silent because it would cancel it 100%. But yeah, analog works a bit differently. Those needles don't move the same every single time. You know, they're just different. So
that does some recall.
Yes. Yeah.
Where you're having to redo things if they're not how they need to be.
Yeah, so that's kind of the pain in the ass of analog stuff, is having to recall